African Americans have made to the Adventist church. No place you can go in the world. Okay? We're not telling our own story, even in our own school. Okay? So one of the things that we're doing is we propose to build ORCM Regional Conference Retirement Building that houses all of our ministries in one building. Breath of Life, Retirement, Message Magazine, Regional Voice, ORCM in one building. We also said as part of that building, we will put in the first Adventist African American History Museum. It'll be a room, it won't be like a full museum. But one of the things I've learned as I've been doing kind of a museum tour, I went to the one in Washington, and I learned how much I didn't know and how much I forgot. And it's very, if you don't know your own history, then you allow other people to fill in the blanks for you, which is exactly what we do. And so us not telling our own children that means that there's a difference between what happens when a young person graduates from Oakwood now and what happened when I graduated 40 years ago. I automatically went to a regional conference church. That's not true anymore, young people, because they don't, wherefore for me, I don't have a problem driving 45 minutes to church. What a lot of them say is, I just go to the one that's closest. Now, what I'm about to show you in a minute is that sounds good, except what we have is one-way integration that results in resegregation. And I'll show you that. All right, yes, ma'am.
That's what I was going to ask, because I had a friend years ago, we were in a neighborhood, and she was interested in the Adventist church, and she was happy to go to church with me. She never questioned that, we weren't reading Caucasian, but what happened was, when they got ready to baptize somebody, we had like a citywide meeting or something, and we all went, and then what happened, they took her to one of the other ministries, and she ended up in a church with more Caucasians. So she was a bit upset, and she did get baptized, but she said we teach separatism. So for years that always bothered me, and I always wanted us to be united. But then I had a friend who was in the Methodist church, and he said we need to think about that, because when they united, had the United Methodist churches, then they lost a lot of their values, and they ended up having even more division in their church. So my question is, now we in this day and time, and we more than, and we live in great neighborhoods, we're no longer separate from them. Why is the church still having this problem where we over here talking about regional churches and state? That was the first time I ever had an explanation of it. I always wondered why they had something with regional and why they had something with state. And they used to say because at one time during slavery we couldn't worship together, but I just wonder now, all of that is behind us, why we still so separate, and why we still talk like we need to be so separate?
Well, I think that's part of this presentation, to answer that question. The reality is, and I'm going to skip part. I'm going to skip down to the end, because you asked a question I'm going to answer at the end. So let me answer it now. The reality is it not, would it, in a perfect world, would it not be better for all of us to be together? And the answer to that is yes. The problem is we don't live in that perfect world. So then the question becomes, what's the best way to accomplish the mission of the church, which is to go to all the world and preach the gospel, okay? And the reality is, while there are some notable exceptions, it is still true that the best people to reach other people are people who are like them. That continues to be true. That's the reason why, for example, as we know, we have Latino churches. You know, even though a lot of the people in those Latino churches can speak English, it's still, for the sake of mission, it's still, if you think about it, who is the best, in neighborhoods that are predominantly neighborhoods of color, who are the best people to work those neighborhoods? Is it, whatever the name of the Golf States Church, was it in the Golf States Church?
University Parkway.
Right, University Parkway. Okay. Who's the best person to work an inner city neighborhood? Jordan Street or University Park?
I can't, I fail to see that too because I'm at Eddisford.
I'm sorry?
I'm at Eddisford, which is a project area. It's predominantly black. You see a sprinkle of those. But then you have Episcopal Christians who is predominantly white. They come out and they do things all the time and they get groups of children that they do things with. So even that idea right there is failing beyond me because they can come into the neighborhood and they can get lots of children. Their parents turn them loose freely to them.
And
So that's another thing I say that's failing me.
here's my response to that. It's true that you can name isolated incidences of integration. But while you will see inner city children going to Pensacola Christian or whatever the name of the church
But
is,
it's predominantly white.
okay,
That's what I'm telling you.
the reverse is not true. Okay, their children are not coming here or any other. What we're about to talk, the reality is there are some of us who have accepted the myth of one-way integration. In this country, we have integration largely because, and it's there. I've been going across this country for 40 years. I can tell you I've been to 2 churches in 40 years where significant numbers of Caucasians are a part of a predominantly African American church. It doesn't happen. In fact, here's what does happen. We're going to talk about it in a minute. The reality is, the analogy you may give is true up to a point. But at the point that Pensacola Christian starts to become majority minority, that ends.
That's right.
Okay. So we have the myth of integration. And let me establish my credentials. I'm having this conversation not because I don't believe in diversity. I'm the one who hired the first Caucasians, the first females, expanded the Latino, because I believe in order to reach everybody, you need to try to have everybody. Okay? But that doesn't change what we are. That's how Central is. I keep saying we because I was there for 37 years. I'm actually not an employee at South Central anymore. So I have to learn how to, I've got to unlearn how to say we, but that's been a part of it. South Central is what it is. It's primarily African American. It's just not all that it is. All right? I would love to have real integration, but we don't have it. We don't. Okay? We have one way. What multiculturalism in this country really is the multis going to one culture. That's what it is. Okay. Yes.
I hear and appreciate and agree with all that you say. However,
That's what usually people, I knew that however, I was waiting for the but or the however. That's how people usually start.
you knew it was coming?
Yeah, I knew it was coming. It's okay. That's why we're having a discussion.
I have a real problem with it, and I can only speak from my background for the last 30 years that has been Southwest Regional Conference. I think the problem is often in our churches, we are so under-resourced that when young people or people who are used to working in areas of diversity come, they see how so sorely under-resourced we are with regard to our church schools, with regard to our programs. They want their children to grow up in diversity, so they seek out that because they want their children to grow up thinking the world is good, thinking the world we all can get along. So our problem may be that the powers that be don't put enough interest in our churches, our local congregations, such that we can keep our millennials.
Okay. Let me go to and you guys are actually running ahead of where I'm going, but we will address that. But I want to respond to Elder Jones.
I got too many things going. I got to bring them down. She's absolutely correct in that they want their children to have the best, and we are understaffed, underfinanced, and so we don't provide the services that they have. But they'll tell you, I'm only going here for the children.
For my children.
Yeah.
I'm only going here for the
They say
children.
all the time.
But culturally, they know that the children are lacking the cultural experience, but they want them to have that, the best in that area. So, I'll give you a good example. Martin Lister is at Eglin Air Force Base. He lives in Crestview.
I hope you're not going where I think you're
I'm going. Martin Lister is at Eglin Air Force Base. Every Sabbath, but this Sabbath, his wife and children are here at Georgia Street. They drive 45 minutes to get to Georgia Street.
going a different. That's good. Good.
And she said, this is her church, because she gets the worshipful experience. So the other system can provide more, but they can't provide that.
Well, I'm coming. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. One of my frustrations with millennials, and what we're doing in February is we're having a national young adult summit online from Miracle City in Baltimore. We're going to have a church service. We're going to have a town hall meeting like this, only it's going to be electronic. Because one of the things we have to say to millennials is we've made two mistakes with millennials. One, we have not included them. But two, we haven't challenged them. Millennials act like the church is an entity apart from them. Okay? One of the reasons in the two churches that I studied, that I worked in after I left the conference office, the church is disproportionately funded by old people. Okay? Young people, in the two churches I worked in, young people don't have those kinds of things because they don't financially support the church. And so that's a serious conversation we have to have with them because they are a part of the problem. The other thing is, when you tell me that, and again, Elder Jones and Elder Sykes will tell you that we were intentional about including young adults on our executive committee. Our executive committee was 25, when I left, it was 25% young adult, which mirrors the population in the church. That was intentional, right? Because I know that young adults are perfectly content. If we don't include them, they're perfectly content with saying, okay, you don't want me, I'm good. Whereas when I was that age, it's like, no, y'all not including me. I'm gonna raise, y'all not leaving me out. I'm gonna raise all kind of sand until you all include me. They're fine. Okay, y'all don't want me, I'm good. Right? So what I'm saying to young adults is, I know we've messed up. I know. But what are you doing? These are your friends. So if they're leaving the church, what are you doing about it? And the answer is not a whole lot. It sort of reminds you all remember the story of Eutychus? He was sleeping in the window, right? Okay. How come he's on the 3rd floor? How come somebody didn't say, oh, you know what? That's never really not a good idea. You probably don't want to sit in a third story window. You don't want to do that. Nobody said anything until the brother falls out the window and dies. Then they all run and say, oh, no. The time to do something is when you see them sitting in the window. Young adults see their friends sit in the window and by and large do nothing except complain. Now, I'm not saying that their complaints are not legitimate. They are, okay? But they have a responsibility to the church too, and nobody's calling them out. Yes.
You want to speak up?
Yeah, I know we say that regional conferences are integrated, but what we're saying is that they're integrated just like state conferences are. And so, but as it relates to administration, do you think would ever allow a person of Caucasian to be in leadership?
We interviewed as an associate treasurer of Caucasian, because I believe that we have to mirror the diversity that we have. And he wasn't qualified, so we can get somebody else. But I believe we ought to open up the doors, and that's what we did on the pastoral level, we did it on the teaching level, and I think we also need to do it on the upper level.
So like the secretary?
Yeah, I do. At some point, I do. Now, I do think you're right that one of the things the millennials want is, I have a daughter that's a millennial. My daughter is never going to leave her church. I tell you what she does do. It is not uncommon for her to take my grandson to the state